Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Support, no DQ. Welcome everybody to the NXT party for episode number 31 of NXT UK. I'm of course your host, the Rated R reviewer, Stefan Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And tonight our guests are the Cleaver, Colin Andrew. We also have the Holiday, Chris Mace. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, guys. How you doing?
Superb.
I'm doing a lot better after getting home from work, watching NXT UK. This was an awesome episode.
I was about to say, I'm still kind of, my head's still kind of spinning from last night. But this actually got me a little bit righted again. We're doing good.
This really helped with an extremely shitty day at work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's all behind us. In front of us, we start off the show with a video recap of basically the entire feud between Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm, mostly over the NXT UK Women's Championship. This even before the intro.
Yeah.
Like before the music and all that shit. Like this is what's important for tonight. So obviously this is going to be the main event. I look forward to it. And sure enough, I was right.
It was a great match.
We got 3 matches on this show, and much like we got with NXT yesterday, it's 3 matches because the main event is a championship match, although this one didn't get 30 minutes.
No.
Or 22.
No.
This got about 15, if that.
And
14 or 15.
With those two, that's really all you need.
Yeah, very true.
It was actually 13 minutes and some change.
There you go. So, our first match of the night...
Thanks for the update, Big Ben.
Yeah, no, that's why everybody takes notes. It's because somebody's bound to have what you don't have. So, up first we have Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster versus Joe and Mark Coffey, the Coffey brothers of Gallus.
Yep.
They have a lot of names going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed this match. I didn't think I would, because I feel like Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster basically pull out the same moves in every match. And then in Gallus and the Coffey brothers, they are big and kind of lumbery.
I think that's what intrigued me about the matchup in general, though. To say what you just said, though, the same things that you think would have made a shitty match, made it a good match in my book because it's such conflicting styles. Plus the fact that they've both been we've never seen Joe and Mark together like
Can
wrestling
you believe
as a tag
it?
team.
30 episodes behind us.
Yes.
And not one of those did we see the Coffey brothers as an actual tag team.
No, we haven't. Nope.
So getting to see them together was a treat, but like you said, Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, or Mandrews, whatever, they have their set moves and everything. With the Coffey brothers, you didn't really know what to expect.
So let's start with Chris. What did you think about this opening match?
For the first time, the actual Coffey brothers actually teaming up, I was really surprised how damn good of a match that was and how well they worked together. They pretty much look like a well-oiled machine for the first time ever tagging together in a tag team match. I thought it was a really damn good match.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe they've been a tag team in other promotions. In fact, I think they were champions in...
Yeah, you're right. They were
the one to
champions.
remember.
It's possible.
I think you read that in the PWI Top 200 or whatever it was.
The PWI 500, yes.
Yeah. He was deftly engaged in that magazine for at least 2.5 weeks.
It's the one magazine I buy a year for wrestling. It's the PWI 500. So
you bought the
It's a good
PWI
one.
100.
you shut your mouth.
I took you to Kroger to get it, and
The female 100.
he was.
Still pissed about that.
There's a sour topic for the general, but let's move on to Colin. What did you think about this opening match?
Again, with you guys, I thought it was awesome seeing the Coffeys team together for the first time in WWE. They have teamed together in the past. They are brothers. And I like the brother aspect of the tag team, too. They always seem to have a different vibe than everybody else. It's being the brother fact. But I thought it was great. I mean, it's different styles, but like you guys said, Mandrews and Flash Gordon Webster, it's kind of the same moves over and over and over. But again, it's always a good showing by them. Overall, I was impressed with the match, and I'm glad to see that the boys from Gallus picked up the victory because they needed it.
I was about to say, like, one of the first questions I asked you before this match even started, who's going to eat the clothesline? Is it going to be Flash Morgan Webster, or is it going to be Mandrew?
You know, the predictions king over here. Current no DQ predictions champion. It's taken 2 episodes to mention that, but it is a fact.
Represent NXT.
I won clean. I won fair and square. I also didn't tie with anybody.
Yep.
Let's just say that possibly happened before, and because there was no
you're
video
always
proof
slightly
of it,
bitter about it.
no, it's all good. Hey, I have the title now, and I'm 3rd from the top as far as points go for the leaderboards for the cup.
Yep.
And so that's cool. So if I get 2 unanswered points on the next pay-per-view, then that puts me tied with Greg Cherry for the cup.
Nice.
That would be
Watch
cool.
your ass, Cherry.
Yeah. I'm not terribly consistent with my predictions. There'll be pay-per-views where I get a lot of shit wrong, and but there are certain pay-per-views where I just call it. I just read into the storylines based on 20 years of knowledge on how this shit can go and where it looks like it's going. And there's some stuff that I should have seen that I didn't, and I'll remember that next time.
Who do you call?
That's how it was with the last pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
I did terrible. I got 2 right. Royal Rumble, I think I missed 1.
Yeah, I think I got all 4 points out of both Elimination Chambers.
Who'd you call to win this match?
Who what?
Who'd you call to win this match?
Now this match, yeah, I actually called wrong. I called for Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews to win, but I'm glad Gallus is getting some momentum back. I just figured that they would lose, and I think Chris agreed with me that they would lose this match, and it would put them further down that black rabbit hole of loss. Yeah. So I've got lots of notes on this match, believe it or not. Starts with that butterfly swing that Joe Coffey does.
That's just impressive.
Yeah, follows it up with an overhead suplex. We had a spot by Flash Morgan Webster. He gets the hot tag, and he springboards in the corner. And it looks like, I guess he's trying to go for Joe, who's on the outside. Not even really on the apron, kind of leaning towards the apron. I swear Webster misses hard on that. And they end up having to go to a different camera altogether just to negate the fact that he hit nothing. Because you don't see it when he hits, but he hits nothing. But he does get this awesome, like he runs along the apron, swing like it does a 619 swing around the post, and catches one of the guys. I think he catches Joe with a Hurricane Rana on the outside. That was just badass. Then we had a spot by Mandrews with the assisted standing 450 for a near fall. And then Joe has Mandrews up for a power slam. And Flash Morgan Webster tags in to the foot, comes in and uses his weight and momentum to spin Mandrews around into a DDT. That was sweet looking. So now we got the Stereo Tope Con Heroes by the Babyfaces, of course.
Yeah.
Just front flips over the top rope to both of the Coffey brothers. That was amazing. And then we get, of course, Mandrews with the Stun Dog Millionaire.
General rule number 1: never try to vertically suplex Mandrews because it never ends well for you.
This was an awful Stun Dog.
Yeah, it wasn't a good one either.
No, not at all. After that, he goes for a Tope Suicida to Mark Coffey on the outside, but Coffey catches him mid-dive and deadlift suplexes him onto the apron like a suplex throw. And then we've got Flash Morgan Webster still in the ring. He goes for a swanton, but Joe gets his legs up, gets the knees to his back, and then we get Mark and Joe with, I guess, their finisher, which is Mark hits a forearm into the opponent, and then Joe comes off with the raw best for the bells, and 1, 2, 3, the Coffey brothers get the win. That was a really good match.
Yeah,
I was very surprised by that.
I was about to say, like, the last match we saw Flash Morgan. Actually, the last match we saw, Managers in, he lost. So he's kind of on a downward spiral.
Yeah, both of them, I think. At this point, yeah. So, any final thoughts about this match? Like, I was just surprised that it was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be
surprised how good it was.
Yeah, I thought it was just
overall,
I
thought it was a great match. Honestly, started off fine. I just wish the crowd was a little more into it, but
the Phoenix crowd does not know what they have here. Like seriously, that's one of the gripes I had about the last time, like this last show in Phoenix, is the fact that this crowd isn't really appreciating what we have in front of us at this point.
This is not a wrestling crowd.
Yes, it isn't.
This is a wrestling convention crowd that happens upon some live wrestling. And the first, let's say, 50 to 100 of them, they're like, oh, look, there are seats. There are bleachers. We can go sit. And they go and they file in. And then the rest of them are just walk-bys, people that have to stand on the guardrail for a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
Yeah, spoiler alert, they do all 3 hours in a row, and then we get 3 weeks worth of episodes. So yeah, I do not blame the crowd at all. But for me at home, this was a pretty awesome match.
Oh, but like watching it from our perspective in recliners, yes it was.
Yeah. I thought exactly. Like, I made the comment to my girlfriend. I'm like, this is the weakest crowd for this. Why? If this show would have been in the UK, this crowd would have been electric.
They would have been.
Yeah, but they were in America, and I guess maybe the thought is don't try and sell out even a small arena for this show, considering you probably have, so this was Royal Rumble weekend. So you've got NXT pay-per-view and a main roster pay-per-view. It's like, we don't need to do another arena. Let's just do it at the convention, at the Access.
I think at some point, like, they'd be wise to probably do a show at the old ECW arena, and that
kind of venue would be great.
Yeah, pretty much an old bingo hall.
So up next, we've got a video package for the Nina Samuels show. And that's pretty much all I get from this.
Yeah, it's just pretty much saying she's gonna be taking over, and it's gonna be the Nina Samuels show, and I'm okay with that because I love me some Nina Samuels.
I don't know. They haven't really set a huge precedence for me to care about Nina Samuels, honestly.
She won a match, so
out of like a quarter dozen. Sounds more than 3, but quarter dozen, yeah.
A quarter dozen.
What do you think about Nina Samuels, Colin?
I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see more of her as she progresses, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
I'm about to say
we need some women in the division, so I'm excited to see what she brings, but it's just one of those we'll wait and see things, honestly, for me.
What about you, Chris?
It's just like the same thing he said. They just need more women in the division right now, so it's just trying to just have all these vignettes. It just seemed like there's a lot of promos and vignettes on here tonight, too, on this episode.
I was about to say, we got a lot of different little video packages.
Now
between video packages and matches, there was 14 different deals on this hour-long episode.
58 minutes. And they put... This was, to me, as an at-home viewer, this was a great show. It just, like you guys said, wasted on an Arizona Access crowd. Mm-hmm. So up next we've got, speaking of promos, we've got a selfie promo from Jordan Devlin. He is back home in Ireland. He's walking along the craggy beach. Just not sand, more like stone, but a beach nonetheless. And it looks cold.
Yes.
Looks miserable. He looks happy as hell to be there, though.
Yes.
Which tells me he is probably an individual who inside is very much like the beach, cold and wet.
I think that's the mood they were trying to set anyways. The fact that he's a miserable person, and that weather was just miserable there.
Well, here he calls out Travis Banks
again.
This is going to be probably the longest feud that we will see thus far in NXT UK by the end of it.
Like I said, in your rated R review this last time that we actually did on Aftermatch Wrestling. This is the only legitimate feud we actually have going here right now, or at least a longer running one, is Travis Banks and Jordan Devlin, and it's hard for me to get invested because Travis Banks keeps on getting injured.
That might be part of this whole thing. Like I said, just the re debut of Travis Banks. So, Chris, what do you think about Jordan Devlin and his just path to Travis Banks? Like, this is unnecessary to me at this point. He should move on. But what do you think?
Well, it's like with episode 27 where it pissed me off how they had that double damn count out bullshit. Mm-hmm. They should have already had this next final match and already ended this feud, but they're having to keep it going, so it makes me wonder if Travis Banks is injured and just not saying anything.
Well, even if he's not injured, Jordan Devlin's going to have his leg injured by the end of his. He always gets the best of him. And it's like, that's my problem with this. It makes all the sense in the world for Travis Banks to want more of Jordan Devlin. It makes no sense for Jordan Devlin to want any more of Travis Banks. Let it go, man.
Yeah.
Move on. You've gotten the best of him like 3 times.
All right, so Colin, who do you see Jordan Devlin going after he finally dispatches and disposes of Travis Banks, hopefully?
Oh God, man. There's 100 people you can go after, but I mean, in retrospect, for me, this is where I would love a mid-card title in NXT UK.
Yes.
Is for a guy like Devlin, because he's really is a star.
Yep.
You know, he's playing good as a heel. He's doing everything right. He did well at the Worlds Collide tournament.
Oh yes.
I do like this feud. I do like this feud with Travis Banks though, because honestly, I think the next time they do a takeover, NXT takeover UK, I see a big stipulation match with these two, which could maybe set a down the line NXT UK title matchup, or something along those lines. But like I said, I wish at this point they had a mid card title. But after Devlin's finished with Banks, in my opinion, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing him go against someone from Gallus, like Wolfgang, or even Mark Coffey. For the Coffeys to do.
If he's gonna prove his dominance at all, he's got to grab for Master.
If he wants to be the Irish Ace, what they call him,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's a heel and Mastiff can play the babyface.
Yep.
Exactly.
Like, I kind of agree with you on the Gallus point, but again, they're heels, and Jordan Devlin is the super heel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put him in the ring with Gallus, and I was thinking maybe Eddie Dennis, but you don't want to put him in the ring with him either.
No.
But definitely Mastiff. And if he can eke the first win out of Mastiff, or against Mastiff, that would be some credit.
And more about that, your idea for a mid-card title, the European belt, because we were talking about this. Like,
we talked about that last week.
My favorite title in the world.
And I think the next night, Jerry asked me, he said, so if you bring back the European Championship, who's the first champion? And I said, Jordan Devlin.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like what I thought would be really cool is if they have the last person to actually wear it before it got merged with the it was the Intercontinental title. Jeff Hardy was the last holder of the European belt, so he could actually be the one who presents the belt, and that would actually be really cool if like Jordan Devlin actually challenged Jeff Hardy for a match at that point as well.
Yeah, I mean it's a callback to Devlin versus Finn Balor.
Yep.
And Devlin can be that guy that just loses to main roster guys on NXT UK pay-per-views. Just saying. So, or maybe he finally wins, and he wins the European title off of Jeff Hardy.
Yep.
It'd be crazy. So Chris, who do you think Jordan Devlin needs to go after he gets done with Banks?
Travis Banks.
I mean, I like him going against the Coffee, but then like I said, I like him to go up against Pete Dunne, maybe start a program, but I see right now Pete Dunne's getting ready to go up against Walter here soon, so I'm not sure. Once that all plays out, I'd like to see him go up against the winner of Dunne and Walter whenever they have their matchup for the title.
I was about to say, he took Dunne to the limit at one point, like in the match, so It's possible, but at the same time, I still see Jordan Devlin still being mid-card, or at least solid mid-card.
Well, I'd rather see other contenders face Pete Dunne for the title before we see a rematch with
But see, that's why they need that mid-card title to have them something to feud against. When only you have one singles title right now, that's pretty much the only thing you got really going. If you're in the singles competitor competition, that's all you have to go for is his WWE UK Championship. That's why you need that mid-card title.
So I think we're all in agreement here. Bring back the European
belt. Yes.
Championship.
Book it, Vince.
Now, Chris, I think it was you earlier that was mentioning needing more superstars in the women's division. And up next, we actually get a promo or a video package for a new superstar in the women's division, Kaylee Ray.
Yeah.
The Scottish Kaylee Ray.
She's got a cool look to her.
She's got a very cool look about her. Basically, she says Rhea Ripley doesn't matter, Toni Storm doesn't matter, none of the other females matter. All that matters is she is now in NXT UK.
Yep. That's confidence right there. I like confidence.
So, who do you think her first opponent's going to be, Jerry? Like, serious feud opponent. Not just like, oh, here's candy floss for you.
Isla Dawn. Because that's really like the launching pad for all these women at this point is to beat Isla Dawn.
Yeah, pretty much. What about you, Chris? Who do you think her first opponent's going to be?
Honestly, not sure about that one. I like her to see her go against Ripley. I'd like to see her in the first feud. I like to see how they would match up against each other. That'd be something I'd be interested in seeing how they match up together.
That could happen. She could come in there and start talking crap about like how she's already like considering herself a contender for the championship, and Ripley comes out there and takes exception to it.
I don't know. I thought about that earlier, but then I'm like, I don't really want to see a debuting Kaylee Ray versus Rhea Ripley, because then you're going to see Rhea Ripley with another loss.
Yeah.
Probably. Just
they won't bury like Kaylee on her first match.
Yeah, I agree with Isla Dawn. I'd rather see that.
Yeah.
What about you, Colin?
Let's see. Zia Brookside, maybe?
I would say that's a squash match. I mean, serious.
That or I would do this. Because you know how Jenny's got a little momentum going right now?
Yeah.
Bring her in and have her go against Jenny, because Jenny's got she's trying to establish something.
Yeah.
Well, she's only got one loss in NXT UK, and that was in the tournament.
Yep.
Other than that, regular singles matches, she's 100%.
Towards that, because she could take a loss at this point. You know what I'm saying? And it really, if a couple more weeks go by,
and it would immediately elevate Kaylee Ray.
And
exactly.
And I was about to say, if like Jenny administers a post-match beatdown, that could bring out Toni Storm.
Mm-hmm. Or something along those lines. But yeah, I think Jenny would be a good route for her on this one. It could help both superstars in the long run.
Yeah, I think that's a way better choice, actually. So my vote's now with Colin. I'm sorry, Jerry. So up next, we get our second match of the night. We've got Trent Seven versus, and this is where I paused the show, and me and Jerry just sat there for a minute trying to think, who the fuck is Trent Seven gonna face here? Like, for real, like, who makes sense here? And we're trying to pick apart tag teams. Like, maybe it's one of Gibson and Drake, and Jerry's like, no, it can't be them. They've got a promo coming up. I'm like, well, fuck, who's it going to be? Shane Thorne.
Out of nowhere, yeah. Former Global Honor Crown Champion with Nick Miller, who no longer wrestles.
I don't have as many notes about this match as I do the opener or the closer, but still a pretty good match.
It was a solid match. We didn't really expect to see much out of it, because I never really expect to see much out of Trent Seven anyway.
Except a lot of jiggling.
He cottage cheese.
Trent Seven. Well, he's not quite Cassius Ohno cottage cheese yet, but
he's close.
He definitely looks like he and Cassius Ohno have been training at the local Dunkin' Donuts many hours a day.
Seven-star Lariat really is a 7-layer burrito.
I mean, Trent Seven's the kind of guy that makes me think I could be a wrestler. Just saying. I feel like I could jiggle like that in the ring.
But with
Me too. I'd be fine.
But with this match, Shane Thorne is actually showing more and more, like, for me, because like we saw him in the Worlds Collide tournament, and he did very well against that Djokovic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, you know.
Still ended up losing, but he looked good in the process.
Yeah, I think that's his gimmick, is much like several others in NXT UK. His gimmick is he loses.
Pen me, pay me.
Did me, pay me. The Job Squad. So before I break down this match move by move, let's go with Colin first this time.
All right.
What did you think about this match?
I mean, they mentioned that it's Shane Thorne's NXT UK debut, which I believe Stefan and Jerry, you and I have had a conversation before about him joining NXT UK.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since his tag partner.
So I was happy about that. So that made me, excited. I don't know, I thought it was a really good match. I thought they both were, pretty technical with everything. One thing I want to highlight that I really liked was the figure four. Applied by Trent Seven, and then it was reversed, and both of them rolled to the ropes at the same time, and they hugged the ropes. Well, I think it was Shane Thorne who kind of led the charge on this one, rolling to the outside off the apron with both men's legs locked.
Definitely.
And the history of the knee injury with Trent Seven, and also Shane Thorne. They both had the big braces. I really liked that part. And then right from there, it was really an onslaught from Shane Thorne for a while. It was real nice. He had that, what was it, the crossface chicken wing in for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was it in a modified version of it, or?
Yeah, I want to call it a hot wing, because he bends Seven's right arm against itself like this, and then comes around it. Like, it looks like an actual chicken wing.
Yeah.
And then comes across his face. But this is where Trent Seven ended up reversing it and finally hitting the 7-star lariat, and Trent Seven won this match. I'm not exactly surprised. I guess I was just dumbfounded, because I was entertained by the match, but then the ending was just like, yeah, okay. Because by the ending of it, I'm like, oh yeah, who cares?
It was very anticlimactic.
But still a good match. What did you think about the match, Chris?
It's like I'm agreeing. Like I said, my favorite part was when they had the figure four and then they were rolling each other to get to the outside ring and stuff. Like I said, I thought it was good psychology in the match, but like I agree with you. Like I said, that ending was flat. Just like, all right, got the clothesline. All right, we're done.
It just showed more and more for me that without Tyler Bate, Trent Seven really isn't much of anything. I don't want to say that, because like former tag champion, and everything.
He is the legitimacy factor. He's the veteran, the older guy that mentors the new up and comer Tyler Bate that's got so much promise, and they just happen to work well as a tag team. And eventually he'll move out of the picture, and Tyler Bate will become a single star. I mean, he kind of was the champion for a bit.
I think that's where that feud's going to come in after a bit. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of the things we talked about on the Rated R report was how does NXT UK take itself to the next level? And one of those things that we talked about is a long-term feud, much like Gargano and Ciampa. And I'm like, well, it's built right there. You have Mustache Mountain in NXT UK. They went for the tag belts. Should have won them, didn't get them.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a tag team breakup perfect in the making right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you just treat it right and take your time with it, I think they could have that.
Slowly percolate
it. Jerry is very, he wants it now.
Yes.
He wants all this shit now. And I'm like, man, it'll be so much better if it just takes some time, see it develop.
I'm very Veruca Saltish with my feuds and rivalries here, okay? Like, especially with Eddie Dennis. Like, for first couple episodes, all we heard about is his beef that he's got with, what was it, Pete Dunne and Mark Andrews, and
yes,
and like he hasn't gone against any of those people, or he even showed an inkling that he's going to go after them in any way, shape, or form.
That's true. And at this point, I think I agree with you with that, especially since we haven't seen Eddie Dennis in fucking forever, and we're probably not going to see him next week. But we'll get into that. Let me break down this match, because there was a lot of good spots here. We had the Snapdragon Suplex by Trent Seven. Then does this, what I call a sit-out body side slam, a near fall. It was pretty cool looking.
It was cool looking. We just didn't know what to name it.
And then the spot everybody's been talking about where Seven gets the figure 4 on, and then they roll to the apron, and you can see the look in Seven's face because he knows if they roll off the apron, he's coming down knees first.
Yeah.
And we know that that's supposed to be the painful part for the person that originally locked on the figure 4. So that's the counter, the reversal, and then. I don't know how that works because if you've ever done that, it is really difficult to unlock a figure 4 once it's on your knees.
Yep.
Like, neither one of you can get out of this. It takes a ref to break it up usually. But yeah, they come down and you can just, oh God, I can see the pain in Trent Seven's face because you can't fake that.
No.
Even a good mat isn't going to help your knees. And Jesus Christ, as a guy that's got Osgood Schlatter in my right knee, just the thought of coming down like that, oh my God. So... After that, Thorne goes up top, and Seven catches him with these chops, and then goes up for a superplex. I believe I got a near fall.
Yeah, I got it too, right?
Yeah.
We see Thorne duck a 7-star lariat, and he hits this ripcord knee, and then what I called a chicken wing pop-up German. Takes him from a chicken wing, kind of half suplexes him into a deadlift, then pops him up, grabs him for a German, and takes him over.
That was the most impressive move, I think, in that match.
And I think he got a near fall for that out of the bridge. And then Seven counters that arm tie-up headlock, the one I said looked like a hot wing. And he counters it into a 7-star lariat, and he gets the pinfall. And then at that point, I'm like, oh yeah, like who cares?
Yeah.
Like there was no feud going into this. There's no outcome from this. Like nobody gets a title shot or nothing. Like who the fuck cares? No story, but a fun match. Yeah. Believe it or not, out of Trent Seven. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the fact that Shane Thorne actually kind of carried a lot of it.
Any final thoughts about this match before we move on?
Overall, I mean, a good debut for Shane Thorne. Hopefully we see him more on NXT UK. I prefer him there than actual NXT. I feel there's more room for him to grow and help put over stars. Yeah, great match.
Chris?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think it was actually a great match. That was another one. I was kind of surprised at how good it was, honestly. Especially with Trent Seven. It's like he's better as a tag team, like I said, than a singles wrestler, in my opinion. But
from what I gather, right now Shane Thorne's actually like touring with them, and he's also doing mixed tag matches with Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley.
Nice.
Yep.
So that's actually a pretty cool dynamic, I think.
Yeah, the Aussies.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw some shrimp on the bobby. That's a terrible.
That was
I need to edit
horrible.
That out. Oh my God.
Never,
That
ever do that again.
Every time I hear that, I think of Dukes of Hazzard.
Every time I hear that, I think of Dumb and Dumber. It's
the Austrian.
Jim Carrey with his head out the window.
Yep.
And then he runs back to the front to drive the
Yep.
limo. Yeah, love that movie.
Great film.
Great film. Not so great of a prequel. Not a bad sequel. I don't know if you've seen the sequel.
Oh,
I went to the theater to see that.
Yeah.
For some reason. That was dumb. Anyway, so up next we've got an interview in the Performance Center with Joseph Connors, and he's talking about Ligero because Ligero beat him, but apparently they have a thick history in the UK in other promotions against each other. So this is probably leading to another match. Yeah, Colin.
Actually, before this, we had a package, a little video package from gentleman Jack Gallagher.
Oh, I missed that. It was at the bottom of the page.
About coming back to NXT UK and having to come back and have biscuits and tea or something with Johnny Saints.
Yeah, he said he needs to talk with Johnny Saint about maybe a change of scenery for a bit.
Yep.
And this happens really quickly, though.
Well, the thing is with that, like, I actually brought up the fact that, like, I'm surprised he hasn't come here sooner.
Yeah, no kidding. 30 episodes, man. At some point, because as Jerry said, he's British as fuck. And I'm like, dude, what does British as fuck mean? Like, either you're British or you're not. Like, the only person I can think that is British as fuck would be, like, Monica and Phoebe's friend that went to Britain and developed a British accent and says British slang for everything. The chick that played Stifler's mom.
Yeah.
She seems like the kind of person you would say, oh yeah, they're British as fuck. Mm-hmm. So
back to Joseph Connors.
Well, yes. I was going to ask Chris, do you have any notes about Jack Gallagher?
I'll be happy to see the gentleman over there in the UK brand. Let's see what he can do over there.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So, what do you think about Joseph Connors and this thing with Ligero?
I think it's going to be an interesting feud, especially since he's acknowledging that they go way back, and the fact that Ligero just got lucky this last time against him.
Oh, that's what they all say.
That's what they all say, but at the same time, like he says it with such conviction and everything that you're like, okay. And we've seen Joseph Connors, we know what he's capable of. So
I saw that match, and I saw the C4L that just hit, and he got the pinfall, and I don't think that was a fluke. I don't think he got lucky. He won that match pretty solidly.
Not
just saying.
undefeated.
Colin, what did you think about Joseph Connors' promo here?
I liked it. I liked the fact that he brought up that they have a lot of history in the UK wrestling scene. He said that it was pretty much a fluke. He caught him off guard, and that those days are far behind him. His days of being off are far behind him.
Yeah, his off days are gone.
I like the fact that he is dead set on breaking the shiny new toys in NXT UK, and he just wants to focus on Ligero and show him that he is always going to be and always has been better. I've liked Connors since the inaugural tournament. I've always been a fan of his, so I hope to see him break out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think we did Connors a lot better now that he's ditched the red, the gold. He only had that for a couple weeks, but it left a lasting impression on me. He really looked like he was trying to be the NXT UK logo. It was awful. But I love his finisher, the what is it called?
Don't look down.
Yeah, the cradle flatliner. I feel like I've seen him do at least one other move from a cradle, and I feel like he could probably be the messiah of the cradle move.
Yep.
If he just had a few others like cradle DDT, just take it. It's the Rampage. Paige ain't wrestling again. You're British. Just be like it's an homage.
It's an homage to Paige
and
family.
Steal the shit out of that move. Just saying. I could appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So Chris, what did you think about Joseph Connors?
I just like how dead serious he was. He wasn't bullshitting around. He's just straight to the point. He's saying what he's planning on wanting to do, and he's going to take care of business. I'm waiting for him to return. Let's see what goes on with that.
I think that's the first promo we've actually seen out of the new training center in England as well.
Possibly, yes. I think
you're right. I think you're right.
So up next, we've got the Grizzled Young Veterans, that's Zach Gibson and James Drake, the NXT UK inaugural Tag Team Champions, still champions.
And guess what? Zach Gibson talks.
Yeah. And Drake, even though he doesn't talk, he speaks volumes because he looks like a long-haired, stout Seth Green. He really looks like Seth Green, man. Like, I think Seth Green put on some pounds, grew out his hair, and he decided to give it a serious go at wrestling. So, instead of getting beat up by, what was it, DX, I think?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I don't have really any notes from this. This is just your typical Zach Gibson promo about being number one, and soon they're going to be recognized, and blah, 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 blah. What do you think about this, Chris?
I just like how he's like those titles are gonna be the most important titles of all of WWE, and I'm just like, all right, just blah blah blah. Can we get on to the main event now?
He says so much without saying anything at all.
Yep. Yeah.
What about you, Colin? What did you think about this initial Grizzled Young Veterans promo?
I liked it. I mean, it's typical heel. They're trying to pull themselves as top heels in their division. I like the fact that he pointed out the fact that they were champions and had to travel halfway across the world against their will and come to Phoenix so they can come to Phoenix to educate us on British wrestling and why they are the best in the world. And Johnny Saints made them take the trip to get the best competition, but they're saying they are the best competition, so the competition should come to them.
Man, this guy takes better notes than I do.
He should be home on his couch with his shoes off, with a thing of biscuits and a cup of tea, instead of being in Phoenix, and that they are the standard of all teams in 205 Live, NXT, and NXT UK. They said line all the teams up because we are not impressed.
My God. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that was the entire promo.
Yes, it was.
You did a great job. So yeah, I don't think
take notes. It's a whole page.
As long as we have Colin on the show every week, I don't think I need to take notes anymore. I'll just let him call the matches or do the spots. That was great. So, after this typical Zach Gibson promo, we've got Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Of course, they're going to come out because they basically got called out. And they just basically said, we're supposed to have this next week. In fact, I think they said, Johnny Saint said, wait until next week. But why wait? Mm-hmm. And so they start heading toward the ring. And, of course, Gibson and Drake, they're heels.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win this match.
Which is weird because Lorcan and Burch look more like heels right now at this point than they do.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, I'm really enjoying Zach Gibson. James Drake makes a good pairing. But as we've seen, Zach Gibson can actually, as we saw in the Worlds Collide tournament, Zach Gibson can actually do the, what is it? Not the Helter Skelter, the
Ticket to Ride.
Yeah, no, Ticket to Mayhem. He can do the Ticket to Mayhem on his own. He can set a motherfucker up like a tombstone, throw him up and hit the Ticket to Ride by himself. So I think this tag team for me is all about Zach Gibson and how charismatic he is as a heel. Because Drake doesn't say anything. He takes a lot of punishment during matches. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. And he
delivers a hell of a 450.
And a hell of a suicide.
Yes.
I mean, he does some pretty good moves, but the fact that he doesn't speak, there's no charisma there, really.
Well, we'll just see how it develops. I mean, they just got the titles, a little bit over a month ago, and we've seen them with them maybe for a total of, 15 minutes total on camera since.
Well, I think this works.
Wrestled. We'll see how the team develops. They are still a new team. Remember, they only started at the beginning of that tournament for the inaugural NXT UK tag titles. So it hasn't been that long. Maybe 8 weeks as a team in retrospect.
Well, I don't think I want it to evolve. Like, for me, I feel like there's a good possibility that James Drake doesn't have any charisma, especially on the mic. And so maybe this is the perfect way to hide that. You have all your mic skills and all your charisma and everything in the shadow.
The Heyman effect, more or less.
But what I'm saying is maybe he will develop into that character he's playing more, and it'll just work even better. That Gibson just does all the mouthpiece, and then Drake just kind of chills and is kind of the wild card, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if last night proved anything, the time that the champion has had the belt does not matter in NXT anymore. So.
Oh God, 3.5 weeks for Gargano. A matter of days if you consider when the taping was.
Yeah.
It's fucking criminal, I feel like. But at the same time, I'm so ecstatic that Velveteen Dream finally has a championship.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Oh, it hurts both sides of my head. I'm just saying, it hurts both sides of my head. So up next we get, to me, this was an out of order announcement because basically we learned already that next week we're going to get Orkin and Burch versus the Grizzled Young Veterans, but also we're getting Jack Gallagher versus Tyler Bate, which, like I said, that shit happened really fucking fast.
Yeah.
And we're also going to get, and I believe we already knew this, Walter versus Cassius Ohno.
Yes.
And I feel like Gallagher is going to go on first, then we'll see Walter, then we'll see the Tag Team Championship match. So I feel like the Tag Team Championship match should definitely be the main event, even though Walter.
Oh, it should be, absolutely.
Yes.
Jerry's against me on the order of the other two matches, but
I think we're going to get Ohno and Walter first, and then I think we're going to get Gallagher bait match right there in the middle, just kind of keep things moving, and then we're going to get the tag match at the end because, like you said, it's tag title.
That's going to be a 15 to 20 minute match, I'm betting, and so this will probably be another episode that's 3 matches deep. We might get an in-ring promo, but that does take away some time because, like I said, the main event of this episode that was a championship match for the women's
was
title.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
13 and some change.
13 and some change.
Yeah.
But where do you guys see the card lining up for this next one? Let's go with Chris first.
I'm agreeing with Steph. I think it's going to be Jack, and then that one first, the gentleman first, and then it's going to be Walter and Ono, and then it's going to be for the tag titles, the main event.
Yeah, what about you, Colin?
I'm going to agree with you, Chris and Stefan. I see,
Fuck
Gallagher, Walter, Ono, and then the tag titles. I believe that the titles should be in the main event picture. It's only deserved the champions for a reason.
We're all in agreement to that. It's the first 2 matches that are kind of like.
So we're getting a promo in the ring by a female competitor, if not a women's match on this show. Gotta be, because we're talking 3 men's matches on one show.
It's a very testosterone.
That doesn't happen anymore. I'm thinking either a match or maybe a showdown between Jenny and Kaylee Ray.
Oh, I'm about to say Kaylee Ray may actually just go ahead and debut next week for all we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I'm all for that, especially if it's a squash match.
But I think a debut in Phoenix is not the way to go, though.
All right.
All right.
Oh, blooper reels, here we come.
Support, no DQ.
So we're on to the main event, and we've got Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm for the NXT UK Women's Championship in a rematch from, I want to say, a month ago, something like that.
Yeah.
This was an appropriate match for what it was. I personally think Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster versus the Coffey Brothers was actually a better match.
Yeah.
Much like we saw yesterday on NXT, where the opener stole the show, I feel like. But this wasn't bad. It wasn't as good as their NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool match.
No.
But not bad. Let's start with Jerry this time. What did you think about the main event?
The main event really wasn't anything I hadn't seen before out of the 2 of them. And that's what kind of, like, I won't say it disappointed me, but it's pretty much the match unfolded the way I figured it would unfold. We got to see, like, all of their signature moves. We got to see Rhea Ripley be a badass, as per usual.
That's my first note.
Yeah. So, and then Toni Storm, she had the sympathy going for her and whatnot through a lot of the match because, frankly, Ripley was kicking her ass, and but we got the fairy tale ending more or less, and
bummed me out, man.
Yeah, it was unsatisfying, but at the same time, it was appropriate for where they're at and what they're trying to do and who they're trying to actually get wrapped into the product at this point. So, all in all, it was just a match for me. Like you said, the takeover match was way better, but at the same time, this was a good showing from the both of them. So,
what about you, Chris?
Oh, this match kind of drove me crazy for a couple things. Like, the first thing was, like, it's like they have that syndrome I call in WWE called dumb babyface syndrome. Like, you're going to turn around, Ripley's piss and vinegar, you're going to turn around, hold tight up, bitch, she's going to beat the shit out of you. Then you got Ripley, who's dominated 80% of that damn match. She dominated. She was just pretty much destroying her. And then you get to where she does the superplex, and then she kicks out, and then she goes to run it, and she started beating her down the corner, and then she runs after her, hits the turnbuckle, and then she gets into her move, and Tony hits her finisher. It seemed like it was just
out of nowhere.
The ending of it seemed like, to me, it was like, oh, you got lucky you won that match.
Yeah. What about you, Colin? Unleash the notes, man.
Oh, I know. No, I don't know. Like Jerry said, it was a match that we haven't seen before. I mean, it started out with Ripley, or the Mosh Pit Kid, whooping Tony Storm's ass harder than a Parkway Drive breakdown. And, but then it was, it was a straight beat down shit show. And then, boom, we get the couple, offensive moves back from Storm. Boom, boom, boom. She hits Storm 0, 1, 2, 3, match is over. It's a very similar match to what we had at Blackpool like 5 weeks ago or so. I agree with Stefan, the opening match between Webster and Andrews and then the Gallus Coffee Brothers. I thought that was a better match, but it's a championship match, so I see why it was in the main event.
Oh, of course.
I don't know. These two, I don't know. They're both great competitors, but I just thought they could have done a little bit more with this match, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially what they had before and the feud that they've had going back to the Mae Young Classic. Just the history between these two, I thought it could have been a lot better. The one thing, though, if you didn't notice on the side of Toni Storm, she had a huge bruise on her back. And you could see that honestly getting hit a lot during this match is one thing that I did notice a lot. But one thing I do love about Ripley is that inverted cloverleaf. That is...
Yeah.
That move's so beautiful.
She is so relaxed when she has it on, too.
I know, too. It's so casual.
It's so chill.
And it looks difficult to put on, but once it's on, it's like, oh, that makes so much more sense than a traditional cloverleaf. Why would anybody put it on any other way? Like, it makes so much more sense. But I agree with you. This match could have been so much better. Rhea Ripley could have gotten the championship back. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, Toni Storm...
I'm not the hugest Toni Storm fan.
Oh, Toni Storm feels to me like the women's version of, like, John Cena as a babyface from, like, 2008 on. Like, just, like, I'm not that interested in this character. And yet you're gonna portray him as just this wow champion. Like, I'm born for, like... work so hard and I'm gonna represent all the great fans and blah 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 blah. Just it seems so basic. And I lied earlier. My first note on this match was that Storm sunglasses are embarrassing. Fucking embarrassing. And this started for me before the match, before probably all of the next week crap, all the announcements for the matches for next week. They showed Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley one after the other getting ready for the match. And they show Rhea Ripley looking really focused. She's stretching. And then they show Toni Storm, and she's like, trying to get her sunglasses on. And I'm like, you're in a building, bitch. You're inside. You don't need sunglasses, let alone these ridiculous... Okay, let me move past the glasses. Because this was an okay match.
He'll scream about those for the next half hour.
I would say for these two, this is still a better than middle of the road match. But yeah, for most of the beginning of this, Rhea Ripley just looks like a badass. Just beating the shit out of Toni Storm, working over the back. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you pointed out the bruise. I didn't notice it, but obviously there's a reason to work over the back. And at one point, she's got Toni Storm down, and she just stands on her hair and poses. Just guns up, posing. And, of course, the ref gives her a 5 count. And I'm like, she's on the mat. She's not even pulling her hair. Just saying. Like... 5 count.
It's like we're going to do this qualifier for standing.
But she goes from that into the inverted cloverleaf, and it's just like, oh, so beautiful. She picks up Storm, and there for a while, she's laying in offense, holding on to Storm's right arm, and she knocks her down with a couple of lariats, goes for the third, and Storm counters it into a backstabber. And then Storm goes up top, and Rhea counters. She goes in there and hits her a couple times and gets knocked away. And then she runs up with an enziguri in the corner. And I'm like, that's some shit that 90% of the male roster can't do in the main roster. And that was awesome. And then she goes up top for what I call a half superplex. Yeah. Because she's got her left foot on the top rope, but her right foot on the middle rope. And just takes her off. But doesn't get the pinfall. And I think this is where she loses her edge. She gets frustrated. At least that's, I'm assuming, the story they were telling. It wasn't told very well. And then Storm dodges Rhea running into her into the corner, and Rhea goes shoulder first into the ring post, and then turns around basically into a Storm Zero. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, this isn't the ending, and I paused it. I was going to go call a kick out, but it had 1 minute left, and I'm like, fuck? Yeah. Storm 0, pinfall. Toni Storm remains champion, and I'm underwhelmed.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts about this match before we rate it. Let's start with Chris.
I honestly think Ripley should have won the damn match because, like I said, she looks the strongest out of both of them. It pretty much made your champion look weak as all hell because she was getting her ass kicked from one side to the other most of the damn match. And it just made the match ending feel like it was a fluke that she missed, hit the turnbuckle, and was able to get her finisher on and beat her. It just made it look like a fluke win that you got.
Yep.
It just made the champion look weak.
What about you, Colin?
Like I said before, it could have been a lot better. That's really all I can say. I mean, decent match, but it could have been better.
Not a lot of notes I noticed. What about you, Jerry?
Well, with me, the fact that Rhea Ripley got so like bent out of shape about her kicking out of the suplex, that's what kind of did it for me. The fact that it's like, okay, she's not going to win this match because you get bent out of shape if somebody kicks out of your signature move. Like if she kicked out of the Riptide, yeah, that'd be a reason for frustration and whatnot. But this was your, like you said, like half superplex. Okay, like people kick out of superplexes all the time, but if she kicks out of, like, your main finisher, yeah, then there's a grounds for being upset. There's a grounds for being, like charging into like headstrong like she did.
Well, Rhea Ripley kicked out of a Storm Zero in the last match they had.
Mm-hmm.
The first one that she got put on.
It took I think it took two of them to put her down, and so yeah, like
we're backpedaling here.
Neither one of the women actually came out looking strong in this match, and
nope.
It's becoming a trend, I think, at this point because what we saw with Shayna Baszler last night on NXT. Like she even looked weak, like in her attack against Mia Yim. So I'm not sure what they're doing with these women at this point. Like, they're taking away some of the empowerment that they usually have, and like this invincibility that's been built into them for the past couple months or past couple years now. And it's frustrating to watch, but at the same time, this match, like you said, is underwhelming.
There was nothing new here at all.
No.
Nothing new built into the storyline. Nothing new built into a match.
Nothing built into repertoire at all.
And nothing new in the finish because Toni Storm kept the championship. Nothing new. There was no significance of this match at all other than just having it.
It was just pretty much a way of saying, look at Toni Storm.
Yeah, watch her beat Rhea Ripley again. Rhea, sorry, Rhea, sorry, baby.
Get rid of the H. It makes it a lot easier.
So here on the NXT party, we rate the main event, and we use the NXT system. So out of 5 spots of NXT, let's go with Colin first. Where do you rate this main event?
Oh, I am going to go 3.5 with an extra sugar cube because of Rhea Ripley.
I give Rhea Ripley matches an extra quarter star every time. It's just how it is. So I respect that. Respect the hell out of that. What about you, Chris?
I'm gonna go with 3. Like I said, I feel like it was too short of a match, and like I said, the ending felt like it was all said. And like I said, just the match itself, it just, like I said, dominate most of the match, and like I said, the champion looked weak. So that's what I'm gonna give it.
What about you, Jerry?
2 3/4. Like, even for a championship match, there's no implications to this, or there's nothing else going to be building out of this from here. I think Rhea Ripley is officially out of the title picture at this point, which is depressing because, but also gives me hope that she'll go to the main roster.
Yeah, the longer she sticks around without a title around her waist, and it's sad to see her without that title because it looked so good on her. It looked like it was
she
made
looked
for
like a
her.
champion wearing that belt.
Well, of course, she was wearing a championship.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying
But it
like,
looked like it was made for her.
Yeah, it looked like
a
it
legit
looked.
champion.
Yes, like versus Toni Storm, who carries around like a Gucci bag.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 3/4. I couldn't, between this match and Velveteen Dream and Johnny Gargano last night, the championship type picture right now for me is just all sorts of screwy.
I would have rather watched the last 2 episodes of NXT programming in reverse. Watch this match first and conclude
Exactly.
with Aleister Black versus Roderick Strong on NXT.
Oh, that was such a great match.
I would have been fine with that, but I guess this is okay. It was completely underwhelming, and I have to agree with both Jerry and Chris. I agree with Jerry. It's 2 3/4 spots of tea. However, it is a Rhea Ripley match.
Bumps it up a quarter.
So I'm going to agree with Chris as well, and I'm giving it 3 spots of tea.
Yep.
Because it was better than middle of the road.
Yeah.
And then it had Rhea Ripley, even though she lost. So that brings us to the end of this NXT party. And let's go with Colin first. Do you have any plugs for the people out there in the No DQ galaxy?
Yeah, you can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at Colin26Andrew. Keep supporting Aftermatch Wrestling. NoDQ.com.
Yep.
Check out all the great content. There's so many good shows and articles and columns and whatnot. You can spend your whole day on NoDQ.com and not get bored. So
Pretty
definitely keep supporting NoDQ.com.
That was the goal.
You know,
Believe
thank
it or not.
you guys again so much for having me on. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Chris, it was nice doing this video with you as well. It's always a blast. The NXT No DQ team is amazing. There's a lot of great people. Support local wrestling. And just thank you guys again so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, honestly, one of my goals of starting this show, for one, to cover NXT for No DQ because it wasn't getting coverage, and I felt like it really should have been getting coverage.
Mm-hmm.
But also
Absolutely.
to expand the programming, because I ended up myself having to expand in the YouTube universe to watching Wrestle Talk, which I'm glad I did. I also dabbled in JD from New York, which not so glad I did.
No.
Sometimes I enjoy what he has to say. I don't normally enjoy listening to what he has to say because he's always so loud about it, and it's just like it would be novel if you did that at certain points as you talk about this, as opposed to doing it for the entirety of your show.
Exactly.
So,
I agree.
I personally
I've
wanted
listened
more
to stuff
content for No
sometimes.
DQ. I felt like if there wasn't a new show coming out every day, then he wasn't keeping up with me, because I wanted to watch more No DQ. So I'm like, well, fuck, I will make a show about NXT, and here we are. Hooked up with Jerry, and then they started NXT UK, and we're like, what can we do different? Well, we can fucking have guests on. And
I remember running
that
over
happened.
to the other side of the factory and telling you, like, NXT party!
yeah, so I mean, it snowballs, and then end up finding out, we were inspiration for Noah Foster starting 205 Live Matters. There's another piece of content you can get on No DQ's channel now. I guess because we started. I mean, I pushed that kid. Not kid, he's actually older than he looks, but I pushed him. I was like, dude, make your show and send it to Aaron. I bet you he puts it on. Sure enough, here we go.
Well,
He's all about that pre-show talent.
But speaking of plugs, me over here plugging Noah, the simple man. What about you, Chris? Do you have any plugs to drop on the NX team?
Like I said, you can follow me on Facebook at Chris Forever Mace, support No DQ, subscribe to the Aftermatch Wrestling. Like I said, well, I want to get y'all to 100 subscribers so y'all can start doing these videos live.
Yes!
Oh, although if tonight is any indication, that's not always the best format.
But that's when it be spontaneous and have fun with it, though, too, when shit goes wrong.
Oh, well, yeah, well, my internet went out, and it does that occasionally at weird hours, like once or twice a month, and so now I had to hotspot it and get it all going, but where there's a will, there's a way. We will get the show back rolling.
It
So
doesn't
if you
matter if it's 3:10 in the morning. We're doing this. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So if you noticed that glitch early on in the video where it seemed like everything changed a little bit, because it did. Like, we lost it all. And it took a few minutes, but yeah, the goal is to start doing this live, but we can't do it alone, and it requires members of the NX team. So if you'd like to join the NX team and be up here on the big screen and help us review an episode of NXT UK, you can find me on Twitter. Just go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's Stefan. Or if you just want to look me up on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, Osborne. As always, the R stands for restricted. And you can also find this gentleman on Twitter
at No DQ General, and also on my Facebook group Armbar, all capital ARMBAR, exclamation point. I actually kind of like that one.
Hey.
But yeah, just find Steph or I, and we'll get you in there. Lots of different content on there as well, and discussions. So join up.
Yeah, and if you like our video, you should click the like button that's underneath me. If you like all of our videos, you should probably click the subscribe button that's underneath Jerry, and that'll subscribe you to No DQ's channel. If you'd like to subscribe to Aftermatch Wrestling, that's our channel. That's where these videos go up about a half a day in advance. We realize that that's not enough to get 100 subscribers, so we are instituting original content for Aftermatch. We started with the Rated R report, where we had, after the show on NXT UK, we just did some Q&A. Somebody drops a question, everybody answers it, and I think we had a really good time. We're going to do that again tonight, so please look forward to that. But we want to have more people on the big screen. We want to talk to more people, so we want to get a wider audience. So we're also going to do Rated R reviews, or maybe Rated R reruns.
Rewinds. Yeah.
Rewinds. There we go. The Rated R Rewind, where we're going to go back and we're going to watch old stuff. And in this case, it's going to help us out because we are going to get in the NXT UK tournaments, both of them. It's going to take a while. I think we're going to do it an hour at a time, have an episode for each hour. So probably 4 matches apiece. Ought to be fun. Don't know when we're going to have time to do it, but we're going to get it out there as soon as we can. In the meantime, go to Aftermatch Wrestling. That's AFTERMATCH, all one word, wrestling, and subscribe. Help us get to 100 viewers, and we will start doing these shows, NXT Party and the What's NXT show live, and allow you guys, if you are up at the wee hours that we do these shows, to ask us questions that we will answer at the end of the video.
Or attempt to.
So that is our goal. And remember, we do all of this for free. We're just here to talk about wrestling with people. So, for the General Jerry Slaughter, for the Cleaver Colin Andrew, for the Holiday Chris Mace, I am of course the Wizard of No DQ Stefan Osborne. Thanks for having a spot of NXT with us, and we will see you guys NXT time.
Cheerio.
Have a good night.
See ya.
Bye everybody.